2 of the 3 judges gave Roach the 12th round. He needed that 12 just to make it a draw. That to me was surprising. So there's a lot of head scratchers here tonight when you talk about the score.
Clearly in there, man. I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory.
If I'm Tank Davis and I'm coming off a disappointment in terms of my offensive output, I'm not going straight to the best defender in the division. I'm looking for some other fight, and I think the logical fight for him is a rematch with Lamont Roach. Let's see it again.
The fight between Gervonta, Tank Davis, and Lamont Roach Jr. was expected to be just another routine title defense for Davis. However, it quickly turned into one of the most debated and controversial fights in recent boxing history.
Lamont did his thing, though. You can't take nothing away from him.
He fought a hell of a fight.
He really can't. He stood in front of him, took his best shot. He was standing in the pocket, blocking, throwing back. Like, he was doing a lot of good things in there. And, he gained a lot of fans tonight. I'll tell you that much for sure, 100%.
And I do think that Roach actually won the fight. I thought he outworked Tank. Thought that he threw more punches than Tank.
After the highly disputed majority draw, many figures in the boxing world, including WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson, voiced their opinions. A significant number of them sided with Roach, believing he had done enough to win.
Many siding with Roach.
Shit on him.
Okay.
We still got to see each other. He say he want to fight me, so we gonna fight.
But what do you think about the decision?
I thought Lamont won.
You thought Lamont won?
Shakur Stevenson, known for his sharp analysis, shared his thoughts on the outcome. He revealed that he had bet on Roach Jr., stating, "I made at least $20,000 betting on Roach Jr. tonight." In another post, Stevenson praised Roach's performance and even suggested that if Roach couldn't get a rematch with Davis, he'd be willing to fight him instead. He went as far as offering a world title shot, saying on social media, "And if Lamont can't get a rematch, I got a big fight for him and a world title shot against me. That's my bro, but we can definitely make something happen." Veteran commentator Jim Lampley also weighed in on the fight, expressing his strong desire to see a rematch after Roach's impressive showing. Additionally, Lampley advised Davis against rushing into a fight with Stevenson, suggesting that after such a tough bout, Davis should take a more calculated approach.
If Tank won't fight the rematch, what happens with him and Shakur? How do you see that fight
Stevenson has a reputation as being the best defender in the division. He is a feared fighter because of that particular quality. If I'm Tank Davis and I'm coming off a disappointment in terms of my offensive output, I'm not going straight to the best defender in the division. I'm looking for some other fight, and I think the logical fight for him is a rematch with Lamont Roach.
Lampley praised Roach as a top fighter at 130 pounds and emphasized how he had silenced his critics with his performance. He believes Roach should get another chance to prove himself and solidify his status as the best in the division.
Let's see it again. Let's see if Roach can go ahead and capitalize on what he showed here tonight, which is he was a much better fighter at 135 pounds than most of us expected him to be.
Okay, who do you lean towards in Gervonta versus Shakur if that does happen? Who are you favoring?
Based on what I saw tonight, I would have to lean to Shakur Stevenson.
During his live commentary on his private channel, boxing analyst Teddy Atlas was stunned when Gervonta Davis took a knee during the fight. He openly questioned what had happened and why the referee didn't officially rule it as a knockdown.
I think the referee started counting 8.
Whoa, what was that?
The referee's trying to figure this out. I think he's going to give an 8 count. He went down on the knee. I guess he's
wow.
I guess
what
he
is
talked his
going
way
on?
out. I think Tank talked his way out of that. He talked his way out of a traffic ticket with the cop. The cop had him going through a red light.
Wow.
Atlas went on to compare the situation to a traffic stop, suggesting that Davis managed to talk his way out of what should have been a clear knockdown call. He also mocked the idea of a fighter being allowed to take an unofficial break mid-fight, likening it to making a pit stop in a race.
Out on a knee, he went to the corner. He must have had Vaseline in his eye. Whatever, he went to the corner to wipe. You're not allowed to do that. I mean, we're not in Indianapolis 500. There's no pit stops.
Wow.
I mean, really, someone's got to explain that to me.
We're
And the
heating up
referee,
now.
I think the referee got talked out of it. But now they're going at it.
The fight's controversy and excitement even caught the attention of Joe Rogan. who took the time to rewatch it in detail after all the debate. He called an incredible contest and admitted he had never watched Roach fight before, but was now a fan. Rogan also noted the fight ended in a draw and expressed his hope for a rematch. He shared his thoughts on Instagram, posting, "Watching the replay of last night's incredible title fight between Tank and Roach. I had never seen Lamont fight before, but I'm a big fan now. The fight ended in a draw, but it was an amazing contest, and I really hope they run it back." Meanwhile, sports broadcaster Brian Custer analyzed Davis's approach in the fight, pointing out that he relied too much on his knockout power. Custer explained that elite fighters sometimes get overconfident in their ability to end fights with a single punch. He believed Davis assumed he would eventually land a decisive blow, but when Roach absorbed those shots and kept coming forward, it was too late for Davis to adjust.
No, I thought he felt really well. I think, sometimes when you get at that level, fall in love with your own power, I think. And I think this was one of those fights where Tank thought, okay, I'm going to get him with that one-punch knockout power. And then when he found out, man, this guy is in front of me, he's taking it, I think it was too late. I thought it was disappointing that it ended in a draw.
Breaking down the fight, Roach set the pace early, moving fluidly and using his jab to keep Davis at bay. Unlike many of Davis's past opponents, who started cautiously, Roach engaged from the start. By the second round, Roach was landing clean counterpunches, slipping past Davis's wide shots and connecting with sharp combinations. The initially pro-Davis crowd began murmuring as Roach continued to outbox the favorite. Amid all the post-fight analysis, George Kambosos Jr. didn't hold back. He took a shot at Davis, referencing past criticism he received for his own losses, and suggesting that Davis now faced similar scrutiny. Kambosos credited Roach's performance and was vocal about his belief that the decision was unfair. He tweeted, "Ouch, there goes the perfect record. That was a knockdown, and it made the difference. The dwarf had plenty to say when I lost to Haney and Loma. Time to look at yourself, Wanky Tanky. Great work. Roach, respect. Tanky, the jig is up." Veteran boxing journalist Dan Raphael weighed in on the controversy, highlighting the financial and career impact of the missed knockdown call. He explained that failing to recognize it didn't just affect the fight's outcome, but also cost Roach millions of dollars and a career-defining victory. He posted on X, "Understand that missing that knockdown call has cost Roach literally millions of dollars and a world title." As the fight progressed into the third and fourth rounds, Roach increased his offensive output, landing precise left hooks and body shots that slowed Davis down. While Davis had his moments, Roach was clearly in control in the early rounds that be why the seventh round, Davis landed his best punch of the fight, a powerful left hand that briefly rocked Roach. It was the first time Roach appeared vulnerable, and Davis tried to capitalize on the moment. In the eighth round, Davis pressed forward again, but Roach remained composed, dodging shots and countering effectively. Boxing trainer Jeff Mayweather analyzed Davis's performance, stating that Davis followed his usual strategy of taking time to study his opponent before going on the attack. However, this time, Roach didn't allow that plan to work. Instead of being overwhelmed, Roach fought back just as aggressively. Mayweather said of Davis, he was just waiting, like always, to figure out who's in front of him and then go to work. But this time, when he went to work, the guy went to work back. He had someone firing at him the same way. Mayweather made it clear that he believed Lamont Roach Jr. was the rightful winner, while he admitted to being a fan of Davis. He also pointed out that Davis didn't look like his usual dominant self in this fight. Mayweather expected to see the explosive, overwhelming version of Davis, but instead saw a fighter struggling against Roach's relentless pressure and counterattacks.
I thought he won the fight clearly. I mean, I didn't see Gervonta really the Gervonta that I know. I mean, I'm a big Gervonta fan, but I didn't see none of the Gervonta that I'm used to seeing.
During the fight, the first 4 rounds were uneventful, but things took a turn in the fifth when Davis began applying more pressure and closing the distance. Roach continued landing clean shots, but had to work harder to keep Davis at bay. The champion's power became a bigger factor, and in the 6th round, a few solid uppercuts forced Roach to clinch. Then came the 9th round, the moment that changed everything. Roach landed a crisp right hook to the temple, followed by a stiff left hand. Davis stepped back, blinked, and suddenly dropped to a knee. The crowd gasped, expecting the referee to start an 8 count, but that never happened. Isaac Cruz weighed on the fight, praising Lamont Roach Jr. for his impressive performance and criticizing Davis for not being at his best. Cruz was adamant that the fight was not a draw, insisting Roach was the clear winner. He pointed to Davis taking a knee, saying it should have been ruled a knockdown, but the judges ignored it.
Pues ahora sí que dieron una gran pelea, ahora sí que me sorprendió la pelea que dio Lamont Roach y bueno, fue una gran pelea para toda la aficionada.
¿Tú crees que fue un empate?
No, yo creo que no, creo que le quedó una de ver la caída a Lamont Roach, pero bueno, decisión de los jueces y del referee que no le hizo válida la caída, no le hizo el conteo.
Cruz admired Roach's game plan, highlighting his pressure, counterpunching, and ability to absorb Davis's best shots. However, he noted that Davis didn't look as sharp, particularly in his defense. Despite his criticism, Cruz said he would love to see a rematch, believing it would make for another exciting fight. The controversy started when referee Steve Willis hesitated instead of immediately ruling Davis's knee as a knockdown. He looked at Davis and asked what happened. Davis touched his face and claimed grease from his hair got into his eyes. Rather than calling a knockdown, Willis gave Davis a few seconds to recover before allowing the fight to continue. Brian Custer called a missed call, saying Roach should have received 2 extra points, which would have significantly impacted the final score. Custer also found it odd that 2 of the 3 judges had Davis ahead after 6 rounds, despite Roach seemingly controlling much of the fight.
Más apostó a un solo round que a un solo golpe para poderlo noquear y el cual Loma venía muy bien preparado, muy bien concentrado en el plan de trabajo. Bueno, creo que a Tank le faltó presionar, tirar más golpes para ser más contundente y que se viera más efectivo a la hora de la victoria.
¿Te gustaría ver una revancha entre ellos?
Pues estaría muy agradable, ahora sí que la primera estuvo muy buena, yo creo que la segunda también.
The crowd immediately booed the decision. Replays showed Davis took a knee after a clean shot, and by all standard rules, that should have counted as a knockdown. If it had been scored correctly, Roach would have earned an extra point on all scorecards, likely securing the win. Following the controversial results, Wade Plemons and the Wade Concept strongly criticized the judges for not scoring the clear knockdown. He argued that regardless of Davis's reason for taking a knee, the moment should have counted, which should have changed the fight's outcome in Roach's favor. This is why boxing keeps losing fans, he said. Tank clearly took a knee voluntarily, and it should have been ruled a knockdown. I had it 75-74 for Roach, and that win was taken from him. Absolute BS. Despite the controversy, Roach stayed focused and continued pressing the action in the final rounds.
If you're Lamont Roach, that's probably the biggest thing that's disappointing because that's 2 points right then and there. I thought it was interesting that most of the 2 of the 3 judges had, Gervonta up after 6 rounds.
Knowing he needed to make up ground, picked up the pace, but Roach kept landing sharp counters. The final round saw both fighters go all out. Davis landed a big left hook, but Roach responded with a beautiful 3-punch combination. Demetrius Andrade shared his thoughts, saying the fight was much more competitive than expected. He praised Roach's surprising power and excellent distance control. Roach had something we didn't expect. He might actually have power, Andrade said. His distance was good, he was prepared, and he showed his skills at the highest level. He wasn't sure if Roach had done enough to win outright, but he disagreed with the fight being called a draw. Andrade hinted at the controversy surrounding the judging, but appreciated the fight's technical level, saying he would love to see a rematch.
He came in ready, prepared to fight, and he showcased that. And man, we had a good fight overall. It was a good IQ fight.
In all honesty, do you think Roach pulled it off?
I'm not going to say that. I don't think that the draw is good, Other than that, it was a great fight. We'll love to see it again.
Terrence Crawford also voiced his disbelief over the referee's decision not to call Davis's knee a knockdown. He questioned how such a basic rule could be ignored, echoing frustrations of many fans and analysts. I've never seen someone take a knee and it not count as a knockdown. Guess they forgot the rules tonight. Crawford posted on X.Crawford compared the situation to Floyd Mayweather's fight against Carlos Hernandez. He pointed out that when Mayweather took a knee due to a hand injury, it was ruled a knockdown even though it wasn't from a punch. Some of y'all need to watch Mayweather versus Hernandez and see how Mayweather took a knee because of his hand, and they still called a knockdown. Crawford wrote. Crawford didn't hold back, outright stated that Roach was robbed. They robbed that boy and it's crazy, he said. When the scorecard were announced, the arena erupted in disbelief. One judge had Davis winning 115 to 113, while the other two scored at 114 to 114, resulting in a majority draw. Roach looked frustrated but remained composed. He had clearly outboxed Davis in multiple rounds, and if the 9th round knockdown had been called correctly, he would have won. The scorecards were widely criticized. ESPN analyst Teddy Atlas called it one of the worst non-calls I've seen in years. Showtime's Brian Custer added, if this fight had been anywhere else, Roach would be walking away with the belt. Before the fight, Showbiz the adult was skeptical of Roach's chances, believing he wasn't a strong enough matchup for Davis. However, after watching the fight, he completely changed his stance. In a post-fight video, he admitted Roach had proven him wrong with his skill, toughness, and strategy.
Other than that, two-tone, Showbiz, I might, come on, all right. They don't know nothing about boxing.
What? I'm going to tell you this. I got cooked. Roach, you cooked. You right. You right. That was my bad. I really ain't got. Only thing I can say to you, Roach, my bad. You ain't got to see me, dog. What you did with Tank, you ain't got to see me, dog.
Despite the controversial ending, a rematch seems unlikely. When asked about it after the fight, Davis dismissed the idea. I won that fight. Ain't no need for a rematch, he said. Roach, on the other hand, made it clear he wanted another shot. Everyone knows I won. I'll run it back anytime, anywhere, Roach stated. Paulie Malignaggi criticized Davis's career trajectory, pointing out that despite headlining multiple pay-per-view events, he has yet to defeat a truly elite opponent. Malignaggi noted that Davis's resume lacks victories over Hall of Fame level fighters, which he believes weakens his legacy.
Yeah, I've never seen a guy with this many pay-per-view headliners have not a single Hall of Famer on his resume. Not a single win on Gervonta Davis's resume will make you look at it like, wow, you know, like maybe Jose Pedraza's a rather solid one.
Malignaggi admitted that a draw wasn't the worst possible outcome, but he argued that Roach should have won outright due to the referee's mistake. He noted that two judges had to fight even, but if Davis's knee touch had been ruled a knockdown, Roach would have won by a single point on two of the scorecards.
Ultimately, I don't think the draw is the worst decision in the world. I think, you know, obviously Lamont overperformed here, or at least the look is that he overperformed. But I'll tell you where robbery can come into play. Two scorecards were even. There's a knockdown not given to Lamont Roach, you know.